We just interviewed Jamie Geller. It was out of control, wasn't it?
Out of control. It was a blast.
I mean, I had no idea that she was a producer on The Sopranos and Entourage, all these amazing shows.
Food Network and
she was
CNN.
she was on the regular Today Show, CBS, NBC, Martha Stewart, all these different shows. She's amazing.
And it all.
And now I know why. And now I know why.
Now we know why. It's fascinating to see how the journey of all the different pieces kind of brought her to where she is today.
That is crazy, isn't it?
And she told the whole story.
Yeah.
It was just a very valuable interview.
Because you think when you interview Jamie Geller, you're going to talk about food, but really that's not her story.
There's so much more to Mrs. Jamie Geller than the food. Enjoy the episode. All right, this is the Fish and Coach Show. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us, Mrs. Geller.
It's a pleasure. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited about this. You have no idea. You have no idea.
And this has been like a highly anticipated meeting. You know, like Fish and I know each other, and I know his mother and everything. But this has been a moment.
Yeah. Plus, I'm a cook.
Oh.
Yeah, I do all the cooking in the house,
Amazing.
and I used to. And I just found out that you had something to do with the Chopped on the Food Network. You did something to do with the Chopped cooking show, right?
Oh, I did different things on the Food Network. Tyler Florence's Summer Seafood.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Wow. I know. Can you imagine?
That whole TV show inspired me to start writing books on marriage and relationships.
Cooking shows.
The shop
shows.
I have
Inspired that. Okay.
Inspire a whole thing called. We have a podcast called Chopped Relationship Cooking.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, that's super cool.
And I saw you were on Entourage. You wrote on Entourage.
I was a writer producer at HBO and an executive in the marketing department. We worked on Sopranos and Entourage and different boxing matches, concerts, everything.
Wow, what were you doing for them?
So I was in the creative services department, a senior writer producer and marketing executive. Working on the show promotions and marketing aspects.
That sounds like the coolest title.
It was cool.
Wow.
It was very cool.
How'd you enjoy that? And how'd you transition from that into what happened next?
Gosh.
Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, that's just like in the middle of it. Well, when I was there at HBO, I was already living a religious life. I already married and I got married while I was there, and a lot of people came to the wedding, and they were freaking out. They thought like the
HBO people.
Yes, for sure. Because some of them were Jewish, had never been to a religious wedding, and some of them were not Jewish at all, and they thought this was like the coolest cultural experience ever. They tell everyone they've never seen so many people at a wedding.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even like such, but like
it wasn't Lakewood. Where was it?
It was in Huntington, New York.
Okay,
actually, but it was very trendy at that time to get married with like 30 of your closest friends, in a not a religious wedding, but like all my peers and coworkers with 30 of your closest friends, like in a very cool, chic restaurant. Right. And here they went and felt like, at homecoming or
500
something.
people?
And that's not even a huge wedding, by the way.
No. I hear in Israel they have like 700, 800 people.
I'm telling you, it wasn't even huge, but yes, it was great. So I was there, religious already. Yeah.
Wow, so you're already growing in that regard. Yes. You're already religious.
Yes.
But you're working for TV shows like Entourage.
I know.
And what was the shellfish one called on the Food Network?
Tyler Florence's Summer Seafood.
Was that before? Or
that was after. I was like, look, I'm like a little Jewish girl dealing with a crab, cooking show. But huge lobster he pulled out. I'm like, So I have a lot of interesting experiences.
Fascinating. And how did you transition from all of that behind the scenes stuff into being in front of the camera?
Right. So it was always a dream to be in front of the camera. That was my goal in life. And when I was actually at CNN before that, I was doing tons of camera tests and trying to work my way up from being a producer to an on-camera correspondent. Okay. And I was actually really close to a few opportunities, both at CNN and at the time, I don't even know if it's around, but they tried to rival MTV, and another music cable channel came out called Fuse, the Fuse Network. I don't even know if it's around, but they were like casting, and I got like really, really high up in the casting process. And right at that moment, I got engaged. And I was like, okay, so when you're living as a single girl, even though I was living a religious lifestyle in New York City, like I had kind of I was like always working in that space before. So I kind of rationalized, what I was doing. But once I got married and wanted to have kids and wanted to move out, to Far Rockaway, to a religious neighborhood, and I wasn't going to bring my TV. Remember the TVs in the olden days? I wasn't going to bring my TV with me. Right. So I thought like, okay, now I have to make a little bit of a change in my career, and I couldn't pursue that stuff. So I pulled back on the in front of the camera stuff and continued behind the scenes. I always say if I would like worked at Nickelodeon or something, I probably would still be working behind the scenes. But because the content that I was working with was so challenging for me on an emotional, personal, and spiritual level.
Right.
Entourage, Sopranos,
Yeah.
Madonna concert. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
not. You know, I just felt it was time for me to move on at a certain point, and so that's when I went on maternity leave and tried to figure out what to do with my life.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, I'm gonna write a cookbook. Why? I had no clue how to cook.
Wow.
How to cook, you wanna write a cookbook?
No, Quick and Kosher Recipes from the Bride Who Knew Nothing. That's my first book.
Amazing. And you wrote that book as you were figuring it out?
As learning on the job, which by the way is the best thing to,
Yeah,
for any
of course.
career.
Yeah.
Right. It's always recommended.
Yeah, correct.
Figure it out
Just
as you go. Yeah.
Just throw yourself into it. There's no better school than the
So
school
you
of
didn't
life.
love cooking at all. You didn't grow up like being, I love cooking.
No,
like,
I actually don't love cooking still.
Yeah.
People don't believe me, but I don't love cooking.
we have
Fascinating.
we have a friend who actually was going to your house on a Friday night for Shabbat dinner.
Who?
Joel Finkelstein, and he was so excited. So he was like,
Joel,
wait. And he comes to your
Yeah.
house,
Great.
and you ordered out.
All takeout.
Yeah, all takeout.
Correct.
I hear about the story almost every week. I mean,
Yes.
it's like nonstop.
Correct. You
Yeah.
know, a few people goes. Todd came that week.
Yeah.
Also, Avi Weinreb came that week. And all these guys, and they love to say that we still have never tasted Jamie Geller's food.
Yeah.
You know, if I could retire from cooking, I totally would right
Yeah.
now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us more about that.
Right.
How many cookbooks did you write?
We're 8. I'm about to come out with my 8th.
Yeah, you said they're bestsellers.
I didn't say that,
Yeah,
but
right. The writer said that.
Right,
Correct.
right.
No, but on Amazon it was a different, bestsellers.
Yes.
And thank God my first book is in its 7th printing, and it was translated to Hebrew.
No way.
And the latest book is a book about Shemitah to support, all about Israeli produce,
Right.
to bring awareness and support the Israeli farming society.
Yeah.
Maybe let's talk a little bit about that. I'm sure some of our viewers don't really know what Shemitah is, and what does that look like? How
Yeah.
did that...
Gosh, I'm not the rabbi in the room. It's a biblical mitzvah that really speaks about resting the land on the 7th year. So the same way that we have Shabbat,
Right.
and, as peoples observant Jews, and we rest on the 7th day. So this is Shabbat for the land.
Yeah.
And there are lots of different deep mystical, and not even mystical, deep meanings and layers to this. I don't know if you've ever heard that if, we observe 2 Shabbatot, Shabbosim, however you want to say it, 2 Sabbaths in a row, then, Mashiach will come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we all get along.
Right. That would also
that.
work. Right?
Yeah.
So some people
Or agree.
So there are lots of thoughts about what does that mean? 2 in a row. Everyone, So some people say it actually means 1 Shabbat, in our personal lives, and 1 Shabbat as a land
for the land.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And this year happens to be the Shemitah.
Right. So I'm
Right.
waiting for Mashiach any second.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We thought that was going to happen actually when we came here to Israel when the lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And it was Passover, and no one could go to
Yes.
anyone's house for Passover.
I was sure of it.
We were
I
so
know.
sure of it.
I know. I left the door open longer for the Kosh Eliyahu, the Elijah's cup, and I'm like I knew it.
We
I
sang
knew it was
outside on our
coming.
porch.
Yeah.
We all in our whole neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I think all of Israel did sing.
I mean, we
the four
are in
questions
the
of the book.
birth pangs of Mashiach.
Yeah.
This is the pre-messianic times, to say, English, Hebrew. I don't know how you want me to
So
translate
let's
it.
back up for a second. So you go from being an executive at HBO
Yeah.
and CNN, and next thing it's like, I'm gonna write a cookbook. Out of the blue, it's like I'm gonna write because you wanted to do something.
Right. Just 'cause I want you to do something with my life.
What's driving you?
While she's had a little baby.
Correct.
But what's driving you to do these?
So
things?
basically, again, I get married and you learn on the job. My husband's like, "What's for dinner?" I was like, "I don't know. You tell me." Well, why is that my job? I have no experience in this. And by the way, my husband taught me how to cook. He loves the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's his
Wow.
passion. It's his happy place. Until today, he is my shopper. He picks out the best produce in the world. He won't even do online delivery because he doesn't trust anyone else to pick out his produce.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
No one shop. I'm not. I don't want him shopping for me.
Oh, I'm just let it show up at my door. I'm so busy. You're not a mom. I'm so busy. That's how I'm and he's my sous chef still to this day.
Yeah.
Sous chef is your prep chef, So I come in to make a chicken soup. Every single thing, all the components and vegetables are cleaned, washed, prepped exactly as I
cleans up
like
as you
them.
throw it to the sink.
He's a pleasure, as
Wow.
we say, a machai, to work with in the kitchen. And he taught me how to cook. So he teaches me how to cook, and obviously I wasn't a natural born killer or cook, and I made a ton of mistakes along the way, and I started to just write my story about what it's like to be a first time mom and cooking in the kitchen, and I came up with a lot of quick recipes. Every recipe that was given to me was super duper intricate, lots of ingredients, pull out the stand mixer, which weighs more than my baby, separate the eggs, the whites from the yolks. I was when they said separate the eggs, I thought that's like separate the laundry. Like, I know, but it's like, and then you beat the
white eggs, brown eggs.
Okay. And then you beat the whites till they're stiff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My mother-in-law now knows that you don't need to beat the egg whites in like a broccoli kugel to make it good.
Yeah.
So I started shortcutting all the recipes I got because I had no interest or time, and I was like a novice in the kitchen. And at one point, my cooking was pretty good. Not great. I'm not the best cook on the block, but like really passable for someone who was really dreadful.
Yeah.
My husband said, you should write a cookbook. And a lot of them were his family recipes. So it wasn't that I was so great, but he somehow wanted his aunts and his grandmothers and his father's recipes to have like a home. Wow. And as a marketer,
now his aunt didn't have the barbecue beer schnitzel recipe, did he?
No, that one is not his aunt's recipe. Then we had to start, when it's 17 years later, you had to get creative a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like sushi homentashen and barbecue beer schnitzel.
I saw today, we saw today the pizza with za'atar menorah.
Oh, the za'atar menorah.
Oh my God, so much fun! Yeah.
Well, first of all, za'atar is like the best spice on the face of the earth. I love it with everything.
I want to bathe in it.
Yeah. I always say I take a bath.
In fact, the problem is if I buy yours, I can't afford it.
Oh, I should have brought you
$10.99. I mean, I'm looking at the baccarat and I'm looking at all your spice.
Shawarma,
I'm like, oh my God,
Jerusalem
and there's Jerusalem mix.
Now that I know that you're a cook, I will bring you. You let me know what your favorite one is, and I'll bring it. Please.
Well, I have the top, but like something I don't usually. The baccarat, I want to try the baccarat.
Yeah, baccarat is amazing.
Looks so good.
I always call it like the Middle Eastern Thanksgiving spice because it's warm and toasty with a little bit sweet and like it like evokes those Thanksgiving flavors, but like with a Middle Eastern twist.
I freaked out when I saw your vegan Powerball. I'm like, oh my God, so good.
Yeah.
I literally I could not get off your site last night.
I was so happy.
I get your emails and stuff. I don't always go. Like,
yeah.
You have time to look at recipes, right?
Just open them. We need good open rates. So open.
I'll do that for you. Don't worry about it. I'll sign all my kids up. Make sure everyone's
correct.
Emails,
my daughter's
whatever.
also. She's like, I open and click everything. Yeah. She's like, because I know that helps you with work. I'm like, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Thanks, honey.
So I started opening some like all these recipes. I'm like, I don't really follow recipes. I kind of make stuff as I go along. And I'm so blown away. And they're all so simple. Yeah. And I love it. It's not difficult.
3 ingredient, 4 ingredient, 5 ingredient max is like my favorite sweet stuff.
So you just took something that there's tons of cooks out there, tons of them. Look, and they have simple recipes. They make them. How are you able to become so successful in doing this and writing books and getting your message out there? Okay. Is it your personality? Is it your
First of all, it's mazel and siyata d'shmaya. So, it's all from God, the one above.
That's
I could give you 100 theories about what I think worked and didn't work. And by the way, there are plenty of things I thought would work. It would have been amazing, but were duds and failed. And I had many failures. So I don't really know what else to say other than God wanted it like this.
You didn't watch Julie Child when you were little.
Right?
I watched Julie Child. When I was little, I watched Julie Child.
Julia who? No, I watched Bob Ross painting on the PBS channel. Yeah.
Was he a big influence?
Yeah. He was very relaxing.
So relaxing.
And Emma Lagarde, you don't want to talk about bam!
Yeah, he's fun. Look, some things I've seen obviously before, but more for entertaining purposes, not because I was like, oh, then gonna.
Well, you're in the entertainment business now.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
That's a big question. That's a big jump to write the book. Coach has written 4 books in the last 2 years. It's insane.
Wow.
And you've written 8.
Yes, but over way many more years.
It's not normal.
Correct.
But how did you go from that to being on camera and all of a sudden having a whole cooking show and starting a whole cooking network?
Right. So I say you can always take the girl out of the TV producer. Well, how could I say it? You can always take the girl out of TV, but you can't take the TV producer out of the girl. And so the first thing I did when, before the book even came out, is thinking about how we're going to market it and promotion. So we need a kosher cooking show. Okay. And it was like, boom, that's it. And that's just how it started. And I actually just.
Early days of YouTube?
Early. Correct. And just Facebook was like, oh, maybe you should get a Facebook account, there's this thing, we really have to do something else, okay, Facebook, Right. And I just saw the woman in a hotel in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem, whose kitchen I borrowed because I was in a small rental apartment in Far Rockaway that was 80 years old and broken down, and I wanted a pretty kitchen set. So I borrowed this really nice kitchen of this woman, and she was so cool to have someone shooting in her house, and I just ran into her, and I'm like, hi, remember me? 18 years later. That was actually 15 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's how that started. And then I was from there, once it became streaming content and production, but moving that to the digital space, it became so much more easier for everyone to have a platform and to create content and create video content. So that was the start of it.
And you did a lot of promotion at the time?
Yeah, just everything. I did a massive book tour. I
think I met your publicist.
Who?
I don't remember her name, but because a friend of mine, Rabbi Bars, used her.
Okay.
And I called her, and she said she used you, and she tried to get you on the Today Show, and she failed. But she said later, a year, the producer there said, no, she's not for us. But a year later, they asked you to do it.
Yeah, isn't it so funny?
Yeah.
Like, you always have to let people think it's their idea. Like we were pitching and trying to get on there for years. I'm thinking, is that Stacy?
Yes.
Yeah. Stacy Bender.
Yeah.
She worked so hard for me. She worked so hard to get me on mainstream media, on national. She got me in a lot of locals and locals.
Well,
in
that's
big
easy
cities.
to do. That's not
right,
hard.
but national
Yeah,
is like
national.
that's
Well, that's
the
like
holy
the
grail.
dream. That's holy grail,
Correct.
right.
But you know what? Every step, we should know this, like the concept of the fish list. Like you put in your effort, you know
Right.
where the results will be.
That's correct.
She probably put me on their radar.
Right.
So even though they may have asked me later, it's
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
she planted those seeds.
Yeah.
I knew who you were.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
She planted the seeds.
Yeah.
So Stacy, shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. And so, how did that end up growing into was it a natural progression that it became a whole kosher cooking network?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think so. It was like the book turned into this cooking series, and a tour, and then writing books. Apparently not for Coach, but writing books are so hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
so hard.
And writing
No,
a
it's-
cookbook.
it's-
Trying to write a cookbook is your next one. I want to see how long that takes you.
Well,
Yeah, Coach
you know,
is
it's
in a
funny.
cookbook.
I won a Betty Crocker back when I was a young teenager. Betty Crocker had a contest. You send a recipe in, and you get entered into a contest. And I won third prize. They sent me like this big pan.
Wow.
A
What
frying
was the
pan.
recipe?
I don't remember the recipe, but I was like probably 9 years old.
That
at
is
the time.
amazing,
Oh, wow,
amazing,
that's so
amazing.
nice.
I could do a cookbook. In fact, maybe I could do it like an inspirational cookbook.
Yeah, for
Inspirational
sure.
cooking.
For
A different
sure.
theme. That'd be
For
a different
sure.
theme.
No, everything's a little bit of a, what's your market differentiator?
Right.
So
I always
what's
have to find out what's
correct.
the gimmick.
Chopped
Yes.
relationships cookbook.
Yeah, but I have to figure that out. But I have a long list of books coming out. So
Okay, because cookbooks are like, they take so much out of you. Every time you write one, you're like, I'll never ever write one again.
Right.
You're ready to retire for life.
Well, because you have a lot of photos, so you have a lot of.
It's everything. It's a lot of recipe
Recipes.
testing.
Yeah.
And the recipe development and testing, to be a good book, you have to go through 3 rounds of recipe testing. And every single round, and you do independent testing. So then compiling all the notes, like you have other people in other environments follow the recipe, and then there's editorial notes, and then there's recipe notes. It's like an avoda. It's unbelievable. I've done so many difficult things in my life,
You don't,
including.
have to, you don't have to go through that. Who says you have to go through 3 testing? Why you test yourself? It's fine. You put it in the book.
Oh, you could, but if you want to be industry standards and a
Right.
reputable book, and you want the
Right.
recipes to work in any environment and be foolproof and fail-proof, and
What do you make them on the top of Vail Mountain?
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
and then
Correct.
you have to-
Blindfolded.
By the way, I have to ask you this
Blindfolded.
question.
It still works.
I don't know if it's me, but since I moved to Israel, do you have maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I cannot seem to brown my potatoes. Is that me? Am I doing something wrong? Like, does my oven not work? Am I at like a high altitude? Am I air different?
All right. For first of all, the potatoes here are different. You
Yes.
know, you're not really working with a russet or Idaho potato
No,
in general.
they don't sell them
So,
here.
Yeah, correct. I know one farmer through learning about Shemitah that I met close to the border with Gaza that actually is growing like the only organic russet potatoes in all of Israel. But basically, your general supermarket, so you're not working with the same potatoes.
It's white potatoes and
Red skin, but they're very
skins.
thin skinned
skins.
potatoes
Yes.
and starchy. So it's a very, very different potato. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, pans. It depends on your pan.
Right.
And in terms of your oven, if you're talking about roasting, if you don't have an Israeli oven, if you do have an Israeli oven, they're really like
European.
You have to like pray
That's what
before
I have.
you use it. Yeah, and then cook one potato at a time. And then, like you can only get one pan in there, and it doesn't really cook evenly, and you're moving it all around. So like what's happening?
We built our kitchen. We were told that I tried to buy an American oven, but it was like 4 times the cost.
Oh,
of
yeah,
a
literally,
European.
yeah.
So what I did, I'm going to buy 3. I'm going to trick them.
Yes.
So I bought 3 European ovens.
And who's laughing now?
I'm not. Well, they have plenty of room. That's not the problem.
Right.
But nothing brown. Like, hey, brown chicken. Can't
I'm
brown
telling
anything.
you. So I am in the middle.
How
of
can the heat here in the European oven be different than the heat in the American oven?
The whole
That's what I
thing, the
want to know.
circulation, the way it works, I can't even tell you. So I'm 10 years in this country working with the European ovens, and we're in the middle of construction right now, and I'm going with an American oven.
Okay.
I waited 10 years for this moment. I saved up.
It's going to
That's
cost
so
you. It
exciting.
costs like
Yeah, I know.
It's almost
10 years.
obnoxious.
I know.
Do you have a Sub-Zero?
Not yet, but I will.
Again,
Yeah, I know.
obnoxious.
I know.
It's almost like they triple the price
Yeah.
between taxes. And I
Yes,
don't know.
correct. I know. Yeah, but it's
We're super curious how you made the jump. Now you were in the camera, and now tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now as the Chief Media Marketing Officer at Aish Global.
I feel like this is the fulfillment of my life streams and my personal and professional passions just coming together. This helps me understand why I did everything I did, every single career experience, from being a producer to a marketing executive to having the experience of building a digital media company, is all for the Jewish people and was always for a greater good and greater passion. And I always, the first 10 years of my life, I said to God, like, after I became religious, what did I just do wasting all that time at HBO and CNN and Food Network? So now I understand that. But
it wasn't a waste. It was part of the journey.
But I didn't know that at that time.
Right.
Then the next 10 years, I tried to build this like digital food media company, and it becomes a lot about recipes, and we did a lot about travel and lifestyle in Israel, and it became heavy sort of on the gashmias, so like the sort of the superficial things, like the food, the travel, and I felt like, how do I bring more meaning? And I kept trying to layer meaning into what I was doing, and it was not satisfied enough. Like, it wasn't enough. And I felt like food and also digital media both are such powerful tools for reaching out to the greater Jewish people and the world. And
we love food.
Right.
Everyone loves
Everything's
food.
about food.
It's like the one thing that we can all agree on. It's the most,
Right.
they say that old saying from like when my mom's generation, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I think a way to anyone's heart is through their stomach.
Yeah.
And that bringing all of us together around the table, we can find common ground, when we break bread together. So I saw that. And I also saw the power of digital media. And I felt like, I'm not doing enough in this space. How can I do more? And then boom, Rabbi Berg, like visionary, just like created this amazing opportunity for me. And I'm here a year and a half, and it's a blessing and a dream. I used to work in the heart of Manhattan, which I thought was the center of the world, like Times Square, like where else, And look at here, this is the center of the universe. Across the street, I'm saying, look here, I don't know if everyone can see us. We're looking at the Kotel.
Yeah,
It's
right
right
now.
It is actually
We're
unbelievable.
We're literally looking at it.
I joke when I was teaching here at Essentials in this room
Yeah.
that I'm at, and I would joke that I'd go to the Kotel like Friday night, and for service, and I'd look up. There's my office up there, looking at I would be
That's my
joking.
boss.
Yeah.
Totally.
Our address where we're recording right now is one
Western Wall Plaza.
Is that the address here?
That's
That's
the
it.
address.
I had no idea.
That's
One
it.
Western Wall Plaza.
Correct.
So,
It doesn't get better.
yeah.
I used to say like Park Avenue residence, like I was like real estate location. Locationally, one Western Wall Plaza is
Right.
it. I'm going to retire here.
Wow. And the vision is so big. The goal is to reach 3 million unobservant or unconnected, disconnected Jews and make them interested in Judaism, essentially.
Right.
Connect them. That's all it is.
to
Connect.
Jewish wisdom.
Yeah.
The Rosh Hashiva, Rav Yitzchak Berkowitz, who is the spiritual leader of the organization and the visionary of this, the architect of this vision, basically has said, what is it that's going to sustain the Jewish people? We've seen in Pew Research study after study, and the last one said, the last two connections for people right now are Holocaust remembrance and food.
These are the final
Those are
enduring
the final
connections.
things.
It's certainly not Hebrew school.
Right, correct. But food, then see it popping up again,
Right.
then we see a theme. But what's happening is that cultural Judaism is not enough to pass it off to the next generation.
not.
And, Rav Berkowitz has said, it's learning. We're the people of the book, education, wisdom. The more you know, the more power you have, the more pride you have. That is what you can pass on to the next generation. So it's really that connection, to Jewish wisdom.
And we
that's
have
what
the
we're looking
wisdom.
for. And we do.
It's unbelievable.
The
we
original
have.
wise guys.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I know.
The original wise guys.
I'm still upset that I had to go through so much of my life without understanding
I
how
know.
much wisdom we have.
I know. Anyone who sees is like, where has this been all my life?
Yeah.
And it's our goal to bring that to the masses in unique ways, in formats that they can consume, in the places where they're already at, give them what they want, when they want it, how they want it. So that means through TikTok, through a reel, through an awesome YouTube series, short form, long form, funny, entertaining, something that will make you think. We need to hit every sort of emotion on every single platform for every single age demographic, and that's it. Easy job, right?
How many platforms is that? Simple. How many platforms is
we
that?
are active on 8 social media platforms right now in 3 languages.
And how many more are we working towards?
Well, right
Is
now
it
you never know
metaverse
what's
yet?
going to be tomorrow.
Things change.
We did when I first got here, I was like, we must be on Clubhouse. We must. It was the
Clubhouse
hottest
is
thing
dead
to do.
now, right?
It's dead.
Wow.
I cut and ran resources, but I'm glad we're there. We have to be nimble enough to try it, to see what the vitality is. When you're a first mover in digital and social media, there are tremendous benefits.
Yes.
So you got to get there first. Then you check out the lay of the land. But now we're focusing on virtual reality influences, so VR, the metaverse, NFTs. That's the next thing.
Yeah.
What's that going to look like? I'm so curious. We have to talk a bit about the metaverse.
No,
We don't
I don't even know. I mean, we've been really Yariv Newman, who I don't know if you know.
I know him.
Yeah, Yariv is like an unbelievable concept designer. He is part of the Aish family, and he also is independently fantastic in the industry and revered for his work, and he's working with us very, very closely on the NFT space and what can we create. Beginning, it started just as art, but really now it's about utility and access and how can you create experiences for people and communities around ideas. So we have to merge all of that, and then we've got to put that in some cool future universe that we don't even know what it will look like in the metaverse. And just working on things that we can't even exactly explain or understand, but just go with it.
I think you just hit on a big thing that I've always been curious about is how do you take the social media and this reach, this outreach, this whole virtual world and create and turn it into experiences?
Right.
So
digital experiences. I mean, I think we all saw that in the pandemic. Any of us who were involved in the industry in digital and social understand you can have life-changing experiences there. You can make real connections. I mean, people meet and get married from digital dating.
That's
I'm
true.
just saying.
People buy real estate now.
Yeah,
We're not even seeing it.
Correct. So come on. We knew that, but it's really hard for the old school people to wrap their head around, like, ultimately, if you want to change someone's life, you have to meet them. You have to. But no, people can make mental, emotional, spiritual shifts and growth in their life. Just all that happening through the digital space, and especially the next generation, that's all they know. And the pandemic expedited that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, I didn't even remember what the question was.
You answered it, but how do we do that? How do you create those experiences?
So then it's about, you have to realize that social media is a community, and that what you're trying to do on digital is not preaching, but you're conversing. It's a discussion, it's a conversation, it's a community. And the more that you think about that and think about experiences that will engender that community where people can connect with each other, just think of a Zoom briefing. Like, you get exclusive access. We do them with Aish all the time. We do them with the White House just recently. We did it with, one of the chief rabbis of the Ukraine. We've done that with Mayor Avivi. He's a general. When all these sort of wars were happening in Israel, lockdowns were happening, we had access to a minister of tourism, or, like I said, this general here that gave access virtually wherever our donors and partners are. They come in, they can hear from him, they can ask him questions. That's a digital experience.
Yeah, it is.
That could never be facilitated even offline. Because obviously, if Mayor Vivi, who did come to Aish, New York, and do an event for us to speak about the situation in Israel and the security concerns, it's only open to those who are in New York or willing to travel to New York City.
Sure. But now it's open to the world.
Correct.
And you're always dealing with the corona concerns.
We started our podcast about 6 months ago. And the thing about it that you don't really think about is when we post this interview today, someone's going to be watching it 3 years from now, 4 years from now. It's like that's what's crazy about putting content online. Yeah. It blows my mind.
You put it out there and you never know what it will do and who will see it and how it will impact. This is like a very small but like analogous idea. I wrote my first cookbook. I thought I'm writing it for busy moms. I'm writing for people who don't like to cook, don't know how to cook, are intimidated or overwhelmed by cooking, have busy lives, and just want to get in and out of the kitchen quickly. Years later, it took probably 10 years, I met my cousin's fiance, and she's a teacher for special needs kids, and she said she used my recipes because they're so easy, and even the special needs kids could make them. That was never my intention.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So you put good things out there in the
audiobooks.
world.
You know what? Amazon had audiobooks.
Yeah.
It was for people who are blind.
Wow.
But guess what? Like 20% of the books now are sold by audiobooks.
Correct.
It's not going to blind people. People listen to the car.
Of course. And now a lot of articles, like there's a widget that you can plug into any sort of content or media publisher. People, they're used to listening to podcasts. Now they want to listen to their articles too.
Yeah.
They don't even want to read,
That's amazing. I have a question. I don't it's a little off topic, but did you ever think about opening a restaurant? Because all these famous chefs all have a restaurant. A lot of them have
because first of all, I'm not a chef. So that's just, I just play one on TV. Right. Second of all, I have thought, I'm like an entrepreneur, at heart. So I have a very entrepreneurial spirit. I get that from my father. And
you don't want to open a restaurant then?
Yeah.
I would recommend not to do it.
I thought of it. I had some meetings about it. I thought of doing, before there was schmaltz. Yeah. I thought of doing a New York deli in Israel.
Yeah.
While Israeli food was trending worldwide, and they were even opening up non-kosher eateries in the coolest cities.
I think in DC opened
in Denver. Yeah. There's there are restaurants in Atlanta and different places in the South. Yeah. With Hebrew names, like Safta, but not kosher, by some Israeli chefs. So I thought about that, but no, the truth is, and I even had some meetings about it, and I'm glad someone else did it so I can eat there, but no, never, ever, ever, ever.
You don't want to do it.
Okay, wow.
I don't want to be in catering. I told you I'm ready to retire from the food,
I know. So how did, sorry, I want to ask, you weren't raised in an observant home, so how did that happen? It's got to be a whole story here.
It's a whole thing.
Can we just get a few bites and pieces of it?
Okay, let's see. What's the quickest way to tell it?
How were you raised?
I was raised traditional, like Solomon Schechter Day School, so conservative, marching to the Israeli Day Parade, learning Hebrew. I even learned Jewish subjects half the day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
But everything was about, like, not in practice.
Yeah.
It was just about, but it's so
theory,
interesting.
In theory.
The
Torah says to keep kosher, but in theory, it's only in theory.
It's so interesting, but just to think about a parallel to H Vision 2030, that knowledge base eventually, on my own, nothing to do with my school. It's not even the mission of the school for people to lead a religious lifestyle. It's just to educate.
Yeah.
Brought me to where I am today.
Of course.
Because the more I learn, the more I want to, correct?
Yeah.
So very, very, yes, but that's how I grew up. And then when I think I became like disillusioned when I was at HBO, I went to the MTV Music Awards, the VH1 Fashion Awards, the Oscars, the Daytime Emmys. Yeah. I interviewed every major celebrity under the sun. So whether it was Beyonce or Eminem or Michael Douglas, or I'm just trying to think who else, I'm blanking now, but everyone. I did a lot in the music beat when I was at CNN.
Yeah.
So everyone I said from Snoop Dogg to Christina Aguilera, like a lot of that. Oh, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ben Affleck. I did everything. So,
wow.
And I felt like that. Like now, what? Like I saw these people get to this pinnacle in life, and they just, their life was unfulfilled. Their lives were sad. They were full of.
Like Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah. Correct.
Wow. He made it. I mean, he got the Travel Channel. He's a chef. Celebrity chef.
He had a food show on CNN, which means he crossed over, from just a Food Network and from a niche to sort of mainstream.
Travel, CNN.
Correct. I think it was Without Borders. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he killed himself. When I worked at CNN, I worked in entertainment news, and we covered the murder-suicide of Phil Hartman, I believe. Yeah. He was a Saturday Night Live comedian. At the top of his game, he killed himself and his wife. Thank God the kids escaped.
Wow.
So it's like, how are you like the most celebrated comedian in the world?
And like, this is the purses. What was her name? She also killed herself. She top purse maker. What was her name?
I don't want to say the wrong name. That would be
terrible.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
correct. Yes.
But people get to a point where this is where I'm going to be. I'm the best. I've reached the pinnacle. And guess what?
Yeah.
What I thought's going to be there is not there. And what am I living my life for?
Correct. And I said that. Thank God it was a wake-up call for me to say there has to be more than this. Because what if I get to the top of a career? What if I get in front of the camera? What if I become the next Barbara Walters, Oprah, Diane Sawyer? Then what? And I looked around like Oprah is Oprah, like one of the wealthiest women in the world, if not the wealthiest. Not married. No kids. Martha, for the longest time, her daughter she was divorced, and her daughter publicly hated her. And they had a show I hate. Now they've made amends. But I just thought what life is this?
You were Martha Stewart's, I think, radio show or something.
right, something, yeah. So either it was podcast, radio show, or something, yeah. So, I just felt and that was the wake-up call to do more and to explore more. And so I ended up going to classes at H New York.
Wow.
A weekly class for young Jewish professionals, and the beginning of the end.
Amazing.
So I want to understand what your thinking is. Before this, you weren't observant. And was there a relationship with God? Did you know there was a God? Did we have clarity about it? And was there a point in time that oh my gosh, there's a God who created me, put me in this world, wants me to reach my potential in life, wants me to be great, gave me a Torah, gave me a guidebook that I'm supposed to follow. Maybe I'm supposed to follow. When was that time? What shifted you?
So I always had that feeling, especially because I had this very traditional upbringing, and I always prayed and always had a connection with God, very, very much so. And I'm coming to the Western Wall as a child, and putting in notes and praying for things for my grandmothers to, be well when they had cancer, and then they got better. And so I was so I had that, thank God, great connection. They got sick again, of course, as it happens, and have since passed, but were unbelievable, parts of my life. And so I always had that relationship, but I think the shift was knowing how integral it could be. That it's not like my life, and I also believe in God. I have a relationship.
It's like when you walk into shul. Oh, let's put the kippah on. We walk in, and we walk out. Oh, there's no more God anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
I went to the type of synagogue where the kippah was in the boxes and the doilies for the women.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So I heard we had this amazing trip with your mother, as we said, this Destiny Women's trip with Aish, and I got the pleasure. I've never actually gone on a mission like this as an adult woman. Yeah. So it was really amazing. That's the best part of my job. So we went there, and there was a panel with the Rebbitzins. I was ask the Rebbitzin a question on Friday night after the meal for the women. Rebbitzin Rossman, Elsant, and Hirschman. Yes. each one more impressive than the next. And Rebbetzin Hirschman said, she also grew up very similar to me, and she said she had a turning point, and she quoted a rabbi, and I'm not going to be able to remember which rabbi said it, let Judaism permeate your life, not just punctuate your life. And that's what it was. It was like, I live my life, comma here. I live my life, period here. And paragraph start again. It was like here and there.
That's what the TV culture kind of is. On TV, you're one personality, not you.
Right.
But like this is what it breeds. So it's the same thing, but also with our own life.
Right.
We don't do that.
Very much so.
Now I always say to my students, I said, be a Jew, don't be Jewish.
Yeah.
Because it's ish, just
Ish.
like
Correct.
a Jew. Be a Jew, be a real Jew.
Correct.
Yeah.
Amazing. I wish I could go to your classes.
Well, I'm hopefully soon. We're
we're
in
going to be working on
discussions.
seminars.
I have a whole new
Wow.
seminar called Find Your Awesome that I put together.
Wow.
6 series, and I'm working on my 5th book called Never Leaving the 4 Phases of Love, and I have gonna have a whole seminar based on that also.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are busy.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of we have a lot of content going on.
Wow. Are you
Oh,
staying
yeah.
in Israel?
I'll be here for another year.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the plan.
Okay.
And
I'm not
we'll see
going
what
anywhere.
happens beyond
Right, that I knew. That I
Right.
know. Yeah, you and
Yeah.
your Israeli oven are staying.
Yeah.
And you don't have any plans after the year.
We'll see what happens. I have a lot of ideas.
Okay.
But no official plans.
Okay.
A lot
I
of-
loved hearing your story. You spoke at the Birkas Kohanim, the Cholamoid Sukkot event. Just it's like so great to say. I think it inspired so many people.
Wow. Thank
He's
you so
amazing.
much.
He's done so many things. He really
Yeah.
is. He's a. And my hope,
thing is, thank God.
my goal is
Yeah.
my goal is to travel with him like around the world and to be bringing our seminars to the entire world.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or whoever's going to go with me. Hopefully him and whoever else. Hopefully we're going to do like 4-day seminars. We have a few of guys like us.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Treats, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of our goal.
Big plans, but it's so exciting to see like this is a powerhouse where we are right
Yes.
now. We're at Asia Torah. There's just you're running the whole mission, and we have just a
There-
team of like-minded people
Yes.
who are so motivated to.
I'm running one.
shape
I'm one
Judaism.
aspect of a team,
Right.
and you know that. And the team is from the top down and from the ground up. And I think that that's what you're referring
And we
to.
also get to be part of the team
Yeah,
too.
I'm saying
Yeah.
we're all
Yeah.
part of it together. It's this incubator and energizer of like competent, powerful, unbelievable people.
Oh, the energy's out of
yes,
control.
correct.
Right.
When
Like,
I get
just
an
in
idea at
this
3 in the
room,
morning,
how lucky
when
that you're-
I get at 3 in the morning, I'm like, I gotta write. I'm like, I'm going crazy. I got these
Yeah,
great
yeah.
ideas.
Right.
and
We're going to
new
change the
concepts.
world. Like,
No, that's-
you know what I'm saying?
no.
And everyone who walks in the store has that feeling.
Yeah. No, I'm
that
serious.
they
That's
want
our
to
job.
and that they can.
You know what my favorite line I teach is?
Okay.
It's our job to change the world, not let the world change us.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
That's what I say. Because it's our job. God, when we were born, God gave us a whole notebook of things that we can do. We don't get read those notes until we die. And you don't want to go to heaven
No.
and start reading your notes like, you mean I could have saved wars and made life-saving drugs and brought people back to Torah and made the world a happy place and brought peace to the world? You mean I had that potential and I didn't do it?
Correct.
No, you want to reach your potential in life.
Yeah.
That is the most challenging thing. And I always felt that as a person personally, but as a parent, when you look at your kids, I think now I understand that because we're supposed to think of God as our Father in heaven, that relationship of God with us, because I look at them and I tell them and I believe in them, their limitless potential, and they're looking back like, no, and I can't, and I'm lazy, don't want to actualize or this or that, and like I see that challenge and that fight.
We just had a podcast. We talk about, in fact, the chapter in my book's called, in my seminar, it's called, you have to choose your hard. Because everything in life's hard. You can be fat. It's hard to be fat. You can be skinny, work out, and be in shape. It's hard to be in shape.
Yeah.
You know, you can be a great chef. It's a lot of work. It's very hard. Or you can just eat a lot of junk and be unhealthy, and that's hard also.
Right.
You have to choose your hard in life.
I think it's so great because a lot of people said to me, "Oh, you're moving to Israel. Isn't that hard?" I was like, "It's hard to live in New York." That's like, you know,
Right.
and that's why
They forget to focus because
Correct.
they're focusing on the pleasure and not.
Correct.
It's so funny when people take vacations. They always vacation, but they don't focus how much work and planning it was. How
Yeah.
do you get people get sick? You lost luggage, horrible hotel rooms.
Correct.
You get there's so much. If you focus on the bad, you focus on the bad. When
Yeah.
you focus on the good, you focus on the good.
Yeah.
And there's so much good here.
So much.
It's
so
challenging,
much.
but it's a lot of. It's,
Yeah, but that was one example. Like, meaning everyone looks over and say, "Isn't that hard?" Well, so other things are hard also. You know?
Yeah. And it's a good thing that things are hard, so we grow.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't enjoy the hard, but it takes time.
No, I do not enjoy the hard.
I'll ask you, like, I've heard you answer this question before, but how do you handle the hard moments and how do you stay motivated when things do get hard?
Oh my gosh, with tefillah, with praying to Hashem, just connecting back to God, also having an unbelievable support system. God willing, everyone will find their soulmate, whoever's looking for them. So I have a husband that just is like my biggest cheerleader. I had my mom, who was my biggest cheerleader, and I know that that's not a given, by the way. And then now they're like fighting for that number one fan status. And everyone deserves to have someone who is their number one fan. We should be that for our children. We should be that for our spouse. We should be like for a sibling, someone that just pushes you forward and helps you. Because as much as like you need to, like I always say, pray and turn to God. Like I'm just like putting it on him and him to figure it out. But sometimes I like to hear something back. So like my husband, I need him to like be the voice of reason every once in a while and
That's
strength.
key.
You know,
Having that support system is huge.
Relationships.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because I was a rare coin dealer in America. I used to buy and sell rare United States coins.
So
I was in
interesting.
New York all the time. I was in 57th
I was a
Street all the
coin
time.
collector when
Oh,
I was
you
like
were?
5, and I subscribed to something, and they would send me coins,
Yes.
and I'd file them away.
Yeah. Littleton coin companies would send coins to people
Yes.
for free, and then you buy buy them. Yes.
And then one time when
They're still in business too.
when I was on a trip in America, my husband thought there was like a news report about a penny that was worth like $10 million.
Yeah. 1943 copper penny.
And we thought we had it.
Everyone thinks they have it.
No, but we really did. But it was the wrong mint.
I gotta tell you, the funniest
we were
thing-
like separating who's going to get how much because his father left it to him. Do we have to split it with his brother and sister? You know?
Everything that it's so funny when I give a class, sometimes I always mention something about coins, and I give this really inspiring class, a lot of good stuff, and at the end of the class, people come up to me and all they want to ask me, I have this 1943 quarter. What's it worth? I'm like, I don't want to talk about coins.
Correct. That's
like,
so funny. But you were telling me a story. So you said you were a rare coin dealer.
Oh, I thought. What was my point? I was trying to
You
ask.
come to New York all the time, turning to God, having someone who believes in you.
Oh,
number one
so
fan.
I had no one to tell
Pretty
me
good.
how good I was doing.
Right.
It was an issue because I worked for myself. I had my own company.
Yeah.
There was no, I didn't get an award like you work for a real
Feedback.
estate company.
Correct.
You get awards, top salesman, and or you write a book and you get, bestseller, whatever. It is.
Right.
I had no one telling me I was doing anything any good.
I know.
It was hard. It was a little hard. It was hard. I'm doing a really good job. And no one patting me in the back. I'm,
Right.
selling tens of millions of dollars of coins a year, and doing lots of business and honest business, and
Right.
there was no one patting me back. And that's one thing I didn't get from that.
Wow.
And that's one thing when I started teaching, I liked
Yeah.
because you get feedback from your
It's
students.
so energizing.
Oh my gosh!
Just
it's like
this
a drug.
podcast is energizing.
It's a drug. No, it's
Yeah.
like when you and I because I
Are
grew
you
up.
still selling coins?
I don't sell coins anymore. No.
Okay,
No, I don't do anything.
Okay.
Podcast, write books.
Right.
whatever.
Have kids and writing books.
Have kids, right? I have 5
Podcast.
kids, read books.
Yeah,
Have
yeah,
kids,
yeah.
host
Training for a
like
marathon
15
now.
people every Friday night for dinner and
Wow.
whatever.
Gosh, such
but,
a slacker.
but I'm cooking. I'm not ordering out.
Right, correct. It's
you know.
correct.
I want to order from the Jamie Geller restaurant. Is what I want to
For
do.
sure.
Yeah,
Right.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to take a quote that I heard you say once that really it changed my perspective. No one has the gift you have to change the world.
Right.
Basically, everyone has their unique fingerprint. And we were talking about how Aish is so many different people, but it's for everybody. Everyone is
Yeah.
part of this bigger Aish vision.
Well, I think Aish, first of all, the Dan Family Aish World Center here is the home for all the Jewish people. And that's what I think it starts from. And after that, every program and every initiative and any division of Aish has that same feeling. We are here for the Jewish people, on behalf of the Jewish people, working for the Jewish people, for anyone and everyone. And there's so many talented people who walk through these doors. Students, teachers, mentors, coaches, executives, etc., and so many personalities. Right, the range of personalities.
crazy. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. But is each one more special than the next, and more interesting than the next? And
the vice president was here.
You're right. No, but I was even speaking about the teachers here.
I'm saying you're people
Everybody.
come through. You forgot the vice president. came
Yeah,
through
the
here.
vice president was
Like
here. We
2
just
years ago.
had the
Walmart-
ambassadors
the
were
Walmart
here.
CEO, I think, was
The
recently
CEO of Walmart was here.
They gave him my picture.
Yeah, very cool. Very
really
cool.
cool.
And and then the personalities of the people who run this place as well. And everyone has a unique gift and is able to connect with someone in a unique way. And I think that's what we have to give to this world.
And that's for everybody, our listeners,
Everybody.
for everybody.
Everybody.
Everyone's part of creating
Yes.
and sharing their perspective
Yes,
into the world.
correct.
It's beautiful.
Correct.
Amazing.
Well, we have to wrap up, unfortunately, but we'd love to have you again in the future.
Oh my
There's
gosh,
so
this
much more
is
to talk
so
about.
Thank
Great.
you. Was that your favorite guest?
Oh,
Tell me.
yes, so by far.
Just joking to all the
yeah,
other
no.
guests out there.
No, I'm just.
had great
I mean, I
guests.
have so much, even just about food, I want to talk to you about. And I
Yeah.
think I don't care about it, but the fact that you're Jamie Geller, and you write 7, 8 cookbooks, and you're
You have
sitting
to
here.
tell me what you wanted the Baharat, you said, right?
Yeah, I wanted the Baja, right?
Right.
That's
Okay.
that's really
And
kind of
do
really
you
what I
want a
want.
spice or you don't
I'll
care?
take a
That's like your
spice for
favorite.
sure.
Is that your
Whatever
number
will
one
make the
seller?
food in the dining hall taste better.
Right.
But I wonder who does your Amazon page. It is so amazing.
I have an awesome team that knows Amazon. You have to have I was thinking I'll just put my stuff up on Amazon and it will
No,
go.
no,
Oh, it's like
you can't be doing
it's
that.
a religion. I'm just telling you, there's a whole world to being an Amazon seller and how you
Wow.
present products and what you write. As you know, everything is.
Do you have your own team, or do you work with a company?
Oh no, God! I'm like not hanging out there where I have my own in-house Amazon team.
Okay.
No, I work with a company that consults with 1 million businesses, and this is what they do.
I see.
For
I was
Amazon
wondering because that was really impressive.
Oh yeah. Then I would be a donor at Aish, not the.
Right. Who does all those pictures of the food?
We have tons of different photographers that we leverage depending on the creative, the vibe that we want. You have to match the right creative with the right execution.
That's
Unbelievable.
Huge. We need to go more in depth on that last
I have
point.
so many.
And that's very crucial, by the way, to Aish Vision 2030 and what we're doing. Each platform, each medium, each series has a different set of content, creators and creative geniuses and teams behind it. Because funny is different than serious, philosophy is different than history, is different than food. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely, we'd love to have you back. Thank you so much
for
spending time with us.
This Unbelievable.
Was so much fun.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Vision Coach Show. It's been such an honor to have you, Ms.
I'll
Geller.
see you next time. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching the Vision Coach Show.
If you like what you just watched, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment with any ideas you'd like to see on any future episodes.
We'll see you next time.